Welcome, everyone. So, welcome to Maddie. Lovely to see you again, Maddie. Love
Lovely
our
to be here,
conversations.
Sue.
As we have decided to call ourselves the wise wild women. I even have to look at that to write it to read it out. Too old for nonsense and too curious to quit. And I think that really, really sums us up. And
Yeah.
what we've decided to do today is because it's almost the dreaded Christmas, I call it the dreaded Christmas. I don't know what you call it, Maddie.
I
But
call it definitely Christmas.
we're going to talk about different ways to support ourselves during this often
Mm,
fractious time of year. And we're all
mm.
going to also going to be talking about how to be very vigilant around scams. So where do we want to start, Maddie?
Well, I think let's start with what's just happened to you, Sue. Let's get that warning out to everyone.
Yeah, just be careful out there. I have
Mm.
just avoided being megally scammed by the skin of my teeth and by my intuition going, this isn't right. And I've had to ring the bank and I've had to ring British Airways. But a company out in the ethers has my passport number,
It's so easy, though, Sue.
my
It's so
whole
easy.
identity. So
Mm.
I can only hope that that they're not a scam. But I have reported them. And it just
Well done.
happened. I'm not stupid. But this time I got a bit, wasn't focusing, but my
No,
intuition went, this isn't right. So please be careful out there for anything that doesn't feel right, or anybody who asks
yes.
you for money or anything about your identity. Just be careful. Maddie, would you like to have
I
you?
was going to
Yeah.
say then, because we talked about this before we opened up onto the podcast, and what struck me, Sue, was that the bank was very supportive to you, and BA were very supportive to you. Why can they be supportive? Because you rang them. So
Yes.
what I'd say to anyone is, if you're not sure, okay, call your bank
Yeah.
or the company or whatever, because then you're
Yeah.
covered. Just call straight
Yeah.
away.
Straight
And
away.
I'm no one gets money out of me online. I'm very, very, very careful, as you I know are always too. But I tell you a very quick story. I took it a bit too far once. This man said he'd phoned from Barclays and he wanted all this information. And well, the fishwife came out inside me and I said, "You must be joking. Do you think I'm stupid? You're a scammer." Gave him a mouthful. Okay, he said, just call your bank. Give them this name, give them this number. They'll confirm I'm real. So I said, "Oh, yes, in your dreams." And I put the phone down and I thought, well, I wonder. So I did call the bank and I said, and they said, "No, he is real." So I called back and I went, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry you got the fishwife part of me." And he went, "No, I'm really glad you did that." He said, "I wish more people, it was my
Yeah.
fault. You should have been informed by, a letter or something."
Yeah.
So these companies, I think, appreciate when we actually
Yes.
are a little bit suspicious and call them. They'd far
Yeah.
rather that than have to reimburse us money.
Apps, 100%, a hundred
Yeah,
percent. But just, it is Christmas. There's lots of stuff going on there, and there's a lot of fraught energy. There's a
I
lot
know.
of not concentrating because there's lots of things to do.
Absolutely. And there's also a lot of extra online purchasing. You're
Yeah.
buying presents at the last
Yeah.
minute online that you couldn't get locally. And, as you say, your stress is just so easy for them to strike because Christmas, whilst it is a wonderful time, is also a time fraught with stress and chaos and everything.
And the other thing is that you mentioned, Maddie, which is I found quite shocking, the numbers, is to talk about how many people, single people, are going to be alone at Christmas this year.
Yes, I
And when
looked it up.
when you're alone, you're
Yeah.
much more at risk.
Yeah, it was very interesting because some of you, I'm going to say something now, I'm going to be really honest, and some of you will nod in agreement, and some of you will feel quite sorry for me, you know, because we do divide over this Christmas period between young families. It's a big family thing, and then we get, as we work along our timeline, I'm going to say I don't have a family Christmas. I have no family left. So I have a very quiet Christmas. but and everyone feels sorry for me and invites me, and I have to just reassure them that no, this is another kind of Christmas. Went through all the childhood one, the big family one, the big Trafalgar Square New Year, all of this, and now I take an absolute delight in welcoming the Christmas and New Year as a time to be incredibly indulgent in myself. I watch what I want, when I want, I do what I want, I eat what I want, all these things for these few days. But most of all, I will sit and I will look back over the year with that attitude of gratitude of thinking, gosh, whilst that horrible stuff happened, this great stuff happened and I've come
Yeah.
through, survived it, loved it, enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and set the intention for the forthcoming year. So I think it is being very sensitive to people. If you know someone who is alone, a neighbor, a friend, or anything, I think there is a kindness in offering them to come for coffee, to come for morning tea. It doesn't have to be for whole Christmas, but that little act of kindness makes such a difference to some of those 1.5 million people in the UK that will be spending the holidays alone. But also know, and don't take offense if there are people like me. I'm a Virgo and I'm a metal, which means I love my own company. I love being alone, a bit of a hermit, really. So don't ever be, if someone says, no, 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 I'm absolutely fine,
Yeah.
use your sensitivity. Are they really fine or are they just saying it? Do they need a little bit of a
Yeah.
push?
And
But just be aware.
I think a lot of people feel quite ashamed when they're alone at Christmas. There's something wrong with them because they haven't got all these millions of friends and family and goodness knows what's. And there's no shame in this. It just is.
It just is. And it can be a really
Yeah.
good time. It's become so commercialized. You should be doing this, should be having great parties,
Yeah.
should, all the should, take the should out of it and just come back into that quiet place and think, well, what actually do I want to do? You
And
know,
Maddie, can you give us a kind of some exercise or a soothing exercise for when the anxiety starts to ratchet up, especially when you're alone or you're feeling very lonely and forgotten? That's a lot of, I certainly have, that's been my experience in years past, definitely when I've been alone at Christmas. For various reasons. Is there anything that you can help us with that we can just soothe the way?
yeah, there are some lovely self-soothing things. I mean, you can actually just sort of cuddle yourself, just stroke
The
yourself and
butterfly
just go, it's okay. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to watch Strictly Repeat prints or reposts or whatever they're called. You can hug yourself. There's a technique called tefloning, but it's just hugging. But a lovely one for me is, and we've done it before, Sue, I know,
Yes, we
just
have.
stroking the inside and outside
Yes.
of the stroking really relaxes and the self-talk. Don't forget to your body, you're the voice of the goddess. I know I always say this, I'm getting so boring, Sue. But you just say, do you know I can have a lovely, relaxing, peaceful, totally selfish and indulgent time this Christmas. And
Yeah.
if there is still stress and anxiety, a really lovely one is to hold your forehead. So your hands are like little electromagnetic pads. And when you're stressed, the energy goes to the back brain. Okay. So this part of the brain, the forebrain, is like your mum, the solution finder, but it's got no blood, no energy there. Oh, it's got blood, but no real energy there to fire it up. Put your little electromagnetic pads, clean it first on there,
Mm,
smile, deep breath,
lovely.
and you just hold that. If you get a little bit, say
Yeah.
that's the table, if you're a bit tired, because you need to hold that, breathing and smiling and saying, all is well,
All is
all is
well.
well. And you need to hold it,
Julian and Norwich, which is
all is.
all is well and all manner of things shall be well.
So I love it. So you just sit there until you can feel, you're basically feeling the energy, the blood, the cerebral spinal fluid coming in to
Yeah.
this forebrain that is going to say, yeah, it is okay. And
Yeah.
you feel a
Yeah.
slight pulsing. And if
Mm.
you've never done it before, you may feel it takes 3 or 4 minutes for that to happen, which can seem an awfully long time. So get comfy. but you will feel a difference. Suddenly your mood shifts and you think, well, this is how it is. This is my reality. And there's a joy in my reality. And my glass is half full. I have
Yeah.
all this lovely food to eat and it's all the stuff I like, and
Yeah.
I've got control of the remote control,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I
and
think
just love.
another thing, Maddie, which is really helpful is to light a candle to yourself
Yes.
because it can turn Christmas into a really mindful journey that you're lighting a candle to your journey this Christmas, what it's like for you. And I always, when I'm alone at Christmas, I always have pens and
Yes.
paper and I'm always drawing anything that comes up for me and I turn it into a retreat. So I'm not,
Yes.
I'm alone. Alone. I'm not lonely. I'm alone because actually what I'm
Big
doing is I'm on
difference.
retreat.
Exactly.
And I think that's been incredibly helpful for me.
Yeah, I think there is that spiritual side because, every year it seems to get more and more materialistic. We're invited to buy more and more expensive presents for more people, for and I think actually lighting a candle and just coming back to the more spiritual, doesn't matter what religion you are, it's
Yeah.
about that spiritual connection with that wisdom within. It's a pause. It's a
Yes.
wonderful seasonal pause to come back to yourself, to find yourself,
Yes.
really is, I think.
And for those people who are, I was basically going to use the word suffering family. Let's put it experiencing family. Some people, it's a really tough because everybody's got these massive expectations around Christmas, and
Yes,
families sometimes don't like each other very much, but there is this expectation we've all got to be together. So, how can people who are experiencing family and really struggling with it, because you can feel so lonely with family that you
yes.
don't really resonate with, what can people do to help themselves during that time as well?
Well, I'm going to say something a bit controversial now. Okay, I'm not going to be all on and bliss about it. I'm going to say we need to learn to say no, not feeling guilty, and do it very kindly. So I appreciate that sometimes this is impossible if you're traveling, but perhaps you think, oh gosh, it is family. And there is a need to be there with family, say, for a little bit of Christmas. So if you can say, okay, well, listen, I'm going to come on Christmas Day for lunch and the afternoon, but then I'm sure you'll understand. I'm going to pop back to
Yeah.
my own house. You have a great time, so you make your appearance with your family much shorter amount of time and then you retreat to your own home. And I know that sometimes, especially if you're traveling to see someone, that's difficult, but how could you make it a better experience for you? Can you arrive later, leave
Yes,
earlier?
earlier, absolutely.
What can you do?
Mm.
Because it should be joyful.
But also to do it consciously, that
Yes.
you are doing it to protect yourself,
Yes.
possibly
Self-care.
protect the family as well. But and just being very mindful that massive arguments can happen over Christmas, New Year. And I think the other thing is, it's this. I don't want to be sort of dissing Christmas, obviously, but it is absolutely understood in the legal fraternity that it can be the last Christmas for couples. They're going, I'm never going to do this again. So there can be a lot of breakups of
Mhm.
relationships or very, very uncomfortable
Yeah.
times, which children have to witness because they'll pick it up. So, how can we help these people to just bring down the effect until it's more manageable?
I think there's the key thing in all of this, I think, is as we're always saying, Sue, is that you have a communication with your partner. And ideally to be able to say, look, it's going to be a minefield this
Yeah,
Christmas. What can we do? Let's work out a plan that we can do that everyone enjoys themselves. And we don't have
yeah,
to sit with the fixed pattern of we got to do this, we've got to, we should, whatever. What can we do? Let's start off and define our perfect Christmas that we will both enjoy, and the kids, and our parents and everything. But let's modify it. So I think that is that communication, and I think there's a very useful thing at Christmas when spirits run high. I mean, there's a lot of sugar rush. There's a lot of alcohol sometimes, which doesn't
Yeah.
help. And a lot of emotions. It can be quite poignant for someone, under the surface, quite poignant, quite emotional for people. And I think if you just have one little rule and think, before I open my mouth with a acerbic comment or something, I just go to the bathroom
Yeah.
or
Or
I
out,
just go
step
outside.
outside.
And you just step outside, you tap your thymus
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that brings you back into a temporary state of balance. You tap your thymus for that temporary state of balance. You smile. You even just tap here. That will ground you, and then
Yeah.
you just blow out and all what you want to say.
Yeah.
Really blow it out into the ground or out the window if you're in the bathroom. And then you come back and you will not then say things which afterwards you will regret because you don't really mean them at the time.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say that's my big thing is take a pause before you open your mouth.
Yeah. And,
Mhm.
for people who find themselves in a very aggressive situation, which is always possible when things are getting very fractious and there's been a build up and there's not very kind things going on in the house, which is also possible. It's how to protect yourself, your children as well from that. And if it gets really difficult, you're going to have, you'll have to find a strategy to leave.
Yes, just go.
Safe place
Just
to
go.
go. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
go. And it
yeah,
doesn't matter, Sue, if it's a little white lie.
exactly.
Get yourself out,
Yeah,
but if you can, I think this whole thing about communication beforehand,
if
a
that's
couple of months
possible.
beforehand saying, okay, what can we do?
Mm,
And if necessary, if there's a thing about not wanting to go to the in-laws or the parents, you think, actually, Mum, Dad, we're going to come at the beginning of December and have a lovely weekend with you because we're going away this Christmas,
yes,
or
yes.
or something like that. You just you can do it kindly.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah,
we're heading very fast to it. The
I
1st of
know.
December has gone. So, this is the build up now. So we're going into the last week. But also for me, I always celebrate the 21st of December. That's for me,
Yes,
it's
this is
my
yes.
that's the change of the light. It's the light coming back. And I always find that really helpful to be consciously engaged, sort of consciously welcoming in the light on the 21st.
Yes.
And I always find that eases for me the distress of Christmas because I've never enjoyed it. It's never been my thing. I've done it,
You
but
see, it's interesting you say that. And you've got the two sides of the spectrum here because I love Christmas.
yeah,
But
yeah,
my Christmas has changed from,
yeah,
childhood Christmas, lots of prezzies. I love presents. I still
yeah,
love presents. As an old contented crone, I love prezzies. But, to that childhood excitement. Then I've had many years alone now, and I find such joy in it. And I
yeah,
also find it's the time for random acts of kindness. So I think, for example, on Sunday, I went to our little village church hall where we all sang carols and we all had lunch together and everyone contributed something. Now, see, I'm a notoriously bad cook, so I did the washing up for about 30 people instead. That was
that's a
my act
lovely
of
gift.
kindness.
That's an
But
act
it
of
is,
kindness and service.
it is, yes, to
Yeah,
think about yourself. We have to put ourselves first in our self-care, but insert it is the season to just think, what can I do for
yeah,
someone?
yeah,
Tiny little act of kindness, because for that person, that might be the only little bit of kindness they have in this
yeah.
busy time, especially
And
those that
also,
are
yeah,
alone.
and to smile at people in the
Yeah,
street, because there's a lot of sort of dour faces because it's grey
yes,
and bloody miserable at the moment. So I always do, and I always make an effort just to smile at people, even if they don't smile back.
yes,
And I'm always chat to the people on the cash out. I make a purposeful effort to say thank you to the bin men because what would we do without them? So
yes,
all of this kind of thing, I think all of that just helps enormously. It's, as you say, it's little tiny
it is.
acts of, yeah. Now, what else could we offer, do you think, Maddie?
I think it's just. it's taking that pause for yourself,
Yeah,
as
I
we've
think so.
said, if you're in a, and even if you're alone, and even if you're very happy at Christmas, still taking that pause to just think, gosh, aren't we, most of us are very lucky in the West. And we may not necessarily feel lucky, and life may be hard, in England or the United Kingdom or anywhere. It may appear to be hard, but when we actually sometimes take that moment to sit down and we think we have full tummies, you know, we have roof over our heads, there are lots of things to be grateful for. And
Yeah.
life may not be perfect, but it's actually taking a moment. Oh gosh, something's come up on my computer now. I hope I don't lose me. No, there I am. Sorry.
Yeah, I think, it is about that moment of gratefulness. And when
Yeah,
I've been alone at Christmas, I've always lit candles for everyone else who's alone, everyone who feels lonely. I don't know who these people are, but I do consciously connect with them.
I think that's a really good thing to
Yeah.
consciously connect. I also consciously connect with my parent. My parents have gone, have passed over, and I don't. I what I do, I have a little ritual on Christmas morning where I have one of those tiny little glasses of sweet sherry because my mum used to love
Oh,
that
nice.
sweet sherry.
Yeah.
I have a little glass, and I don't drink, okay, so it makes me happy for the rest of the day. This little tiny glass of sherry, and I sit there and I raise the glass to my mum and dad, and I honor, and I can feel them there.
Yeah.
And then I will also think about many friends of mine who have passed and
Yeah.
and
Died.
and
Yeah.
anything that comes in. But it can be, when you look back at Christmas, can be such a poignantly painful time. The same memory can be poignantly painful for one
Yeah.
person and joyful for another. But it is honoring those memories and
Yes.
honoring those people. And as you say, for those, less fortunate,
Yes.
reaching
And
out
yeah.
energetically, because it's only energy and it does make a
Yeah.
difference.
And a lot of people go into the streets and they give money or they give food to the homeless. I mean, there's lots of different ways if you are alone that you can get involved in the
Volunteer for
community,
something.
volunteer for something that just makes you feel better
You
about yourself
will.
and about your life and
Yeah.
how you want to start the new year. Um, all of this is important. And yeah, it's just being conscious, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're absolutely miserable and lonely, write a letter. Write a letter to loneliness. Talk to loneliness, and
Mm.
it will shift that energy. And
Yeah.
then you can burn it. You can burn it or bury
That's
it
a
or
love.
take it for a
Yes.
walk, whatever you want to do. But just be consciously connected with how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And your feelings will really help you to release what's causing you pain and distress.
Yeah.
Maddie, is there
Okay.
anything else you'd like to say before we wrap
No,
up?
I think we've sorted Christmas.
I think, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually going to Africa for
Mm.
Christmas and New Year. So I'm actually leaving I'm leaving the country. I'm very happy about that. I want to go and see
Wow.
elephants and giraffes and hippopotamuses and things like that. And it may be the last time I ever do this and anything like this, but that's how I've decided to spend this Christmas. So
Well, you got me thinking, actually, maybe we've got a little wildlife sanctuary down here on the Isle of Wight. I might go and see the
yes,
lions there.
yes. Just be reminded that who we share the planet with.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, so all of you, and I know Maddie's just the same as me, we wish you the best possible Christmas that you can possibly have. What would you like to
Absolutely.
add to that, Maddie?
I would just say, may you find love, may you find joy, may you find that a wonderful peacefulness inside that is going to carry you through Christmas, that you get the best Christmas you can have. And it will enable you to start 2026 on a really positive note. And that is a good energy to surf into that year on.
Yeah.
So
And
happy
we've got
Christmas.
lots of changes coming up in 2026. It's going to carry on the same, but astrologically, it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster.
Or are
So
you going to do something in the new year for us,
yeah,
Sue?
well, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Astrologically
definitely.
astrological
Yeah,
wise.
definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
In fact, I've done something already with Michelle Cheney. So that on the website, if you look up,
Great. Oh,
yeah,
I'm going to click
yeah,
on that then.
a moon astrology, it's got all the stuff about what's coming up in 2026, which is,
Fabulous.
yeah, so we've got to build our resilience, we've got to be prepared, but we're all in this together. That's how I look at
We
it.
are indeed. All
All
right.
right,
Well,
God bless
safe
you
journey,
all.
safe flying, my darling.
You. And no more scams.
No more, yeah, no more scams. Don't give anyone your information.
Bless you all
Yes.
for now.